Dear devotees and friends, today, Wednesday evening, we'll be reading and discussing from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the Panchama Veda. Let us begin. Tabu kathamritam tapta jivanam kabibhiriritam kalmashapaham stravana mangalam srimadatatam bhubi grinanti e bhurida janaha. Friends, today is equal the day and night everywhere. And then those places like Chicago, now the summer is the last day of the summer, and slowly the winter will approach. Now this is the life goes on like this, constantly changing. But still we survive, and this is the way we adjust ourselves. Similarly, the mind, it also gets associated. Adjustment means it's the mind. And the mind, it adopts different type of things with which it is associated. Sangat sanjayate. When it is associated with something, we try to adopt that. That is the reason all the time the teachers, the guardians, the mother, father, they always try to guide the younger people that you should not have the bad company. In English, as they say, a man is known by his company. So bad company, what are the bad companies? They are always thinking about something wrong. So that is bad company. So this we should have to understand in the spiritual life also. Those who are very much engrossed in the worldly things, the things associated with the body and also the physical comfort and all that, it's better to avoid. Those who are sincere to develop the spiritual life for them. And particularly those who wants to become completely dedicated for the monastic life or the spiritual life or the God realization, for them it is a must. The Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, like a very careful father, like a mother, he is taking care of those young minds, young people, that has a potentiality to become monks. So he was taking care of the Narendranath, he was inquiring about him, where he goes, with whom he talk and what type of discussion, all these things. And when he heard that he goes to Girish Chandra Ghosh, you are all know about the Girish. Slowly he was changing when he came in contact with Sri Ramakrishna, but he was deeply associated with the worldly things. So obviously Sri Ramakrishna was guiding the young people like Narendra and others not to get so close to Girish. Why? In the beginning, if they go over there because of the association, that type of influences, so he was trying to protect them. As a sapling is slowly becoming a tree, it needs the fencing. And when the fences are there, obviously it will be protected. And when it grows, become a tree, there is no problem. Even elephant cannot do anything. So this is the way it goes. So Sri Ramakrishna was inquiring. And we were reading from the page 716, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the chapter, the Master and the Narendra. Now, after inquiring from one gentleman about Narendra, he became very satisfied. Now he is talking with the Baburam, another young boy who will become a monk, and his name will be very famous in the Ramakrishna order, Swami Premananda. He was a very pure soul. He was not having any association with the worldly things. So Sri Ramakrishna is to appreciate him a lot. He is telling, where are your books? Aren't you attending to your studies? He was actually attending the school, naturally, the Sri Ramakrishna wanted that he should bring the book. But at the same time, he was telling, he wants to stick to both, to master, because he was the headmaster, the teacher. So naturally, Sri Ramakrishna was telling, see, look at your student, that he wants to keep the both. And what is the both? God and also the worldly life. He was not very elderly, very young rather. But even then, Sri Ramakrishna was careful. If you are having tremendous association with this, or the hankering for the worldly things, the name, fame, then naturally that mind cannot come to God. There is nothing wrong. It is only the qualities. To become a monk, you need these qualities. So he wanted to see that boy, and he saw that he has the potentiality to become a monastic, a monk. So he was taking care. And he told he wants to stick to both. That is very difficult. What will you gain by knowing God partially? Some idea about the God. Majority of the people have some idea about the God. Now, they are also very faithful to God and they will be praying. That is a different life. But for those who wants to become completely 100% dedicated for the spiritual life, there is no two, there is only one. I and my God and nothing else. So no partial, the 100% dedication. So that Sri Ramakrishna was mentioning. Go beyond both knowledge and ignorance. That is the highest thing, knowledge and ignorance. Ignorance, of course, so we are accepting these worldly things as permanent. That is ignorance. We are thinking this world with all this multiplicity, so many varieties of things, these are all permanent. And try to get joy, happiness from these temporary things. Obviously, we fail all the time, and every time we try to get joy, the happiness, and we always go for the permanent thing because that is in our nature. And we don't get that. Then for a few days we are unhappy, again we try for something else, but the same way and the same result. So this we have to understand. And the knowledge about the existence of God, there is someone who is beyond all this, who is the creator, that is the knowledge. But that knowledge also is not the complete about the God. So you have to merge with God. The knowing about a thing or possessing or imbibing that is a completely different thing. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling ignorance and the knowledge, both you should use and go beyond that. To remove the ignorance, take the help of the knowledge. And when you come to that, go beyond that and become the being and becoming. That's Swami Vivekananda said. So now he is talking with the Baburam. And he was telling that you have to go beyond. Baburam, smiling, is telling, that's what I want. Master, smiling, but my child, can you attain it by holding to both? If you want that, then come away. Baburam smiling, take me away from the world. So the Baburam was asking Sri Ramakrishna because he had the faith that Sri Ramakrishna was having divine power. So please bring me from there, then I like to come to you. The Sri Ramakrishna to Master Mahashaya. Rakhal lived with me, but that was different. His father agreed to it. If these boys stay here, there will be trouble. The Sri Ramakrishna was so practical. Now the Rakhal, that means he was mentioning about another monastic. Afterwards he became the very famous Swami Brahmananda. But he took the permission of his father, came and stayed. But now if these young boys, the below 15, 16, if they are coming and staying with Sri Ramakrishna, practicing meditation and preparing themselves to become monk, then their family may not accept it. So that is the reason Sri Ramakrishna told. Then they will complain to the temple authority where Sri Ramakrishna lived, and there will be a lot of other problems. So he wanted to avoid that. Out of his own, if he is coming, it is okay. He was supporting, and Sri Ramakrishna was not having any asrama. He himself was living in the temple, the complex. He used to get the food from there, all other supports. If these boys are coming and joining and staying, the extra expenditure, so who will bear that? So Sri Ramakrishna was waiting. He told that you have no strength of mind, you haven't much courage. Just see how the younger Naren says, I will come away for good. So he was encouraging this boy, but you have to do it yourself. In the monastic life, if somebody is inspiring you or somehow influencing you, forcing you to become a monk, that cannot be as a good result. It should be, one should be from his own, I like to be a monk. So that should be 100% from his own. That is, Sri Ramakrishna was inspiring him, and then he was making fun. I have been seeking one who has totally renounced lust and gold. When I find a young man, I think that perhaps he will live with me, but everyone raises some objection and or other. He was telling that it is very difficult, the monastic life, to lead a monastic. Sometimes we go to a holy people, holy place, live over there, serve the place and the person, and then we go back. That is normal. But completely dedication, and the moment you join and you think within few days I will realize God, that's not going to happen. It's a lifelong commitment. And the same routine you have to continue. Whether you realize God or not, it doesn't matter. Once I have renounced the world and I know that is temporary, I know that is not going to give me the permanent joy, so I am not going back to that, whatever it may happen. So that type of commitment. Oh, I'll be here for some time, and then if it is not good, I'll go somewhere else. That is a different type of mentality. But the commitment to the monastic life, completely different. That's Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning over here. Then he was telling, to see, why has God made me lead this kind of life? This kind of life means, the Sri Ramakrishna was referring for a monastic life. This type of life means monastic life. Apparently he was married. He was married to Ma Sharadamani Devi. But their marriage was completely different. They never ever lived as the ordinary husband and wife they live. No, never. It was completely different. People will never be able to imagine that divine relationship. Before the marriage, those who know the biography of Sri Ramakrishna, you know that Sri Ramakrishna himself pointed out, go over there, because his Shakti, the God and his power, that it comes together. It's not separate. Again and again, Sri Ramakrishna giving the example, and Vedanta also accept that. It's like burning capacity of the fire. Fire and its burning capacity. Can you separate it? That burning capacity is fire. The Shiva and Shakti. What is that Shiva? That knowledge. And Shakti, with the help of that knowledge, that power that is working. So knowledge is transforming into action. They both are same. So Ma Sharadamani Devi, apparently a mother form, but at the same time it is the same, it's no different. But that is completely, if you don't have the purity of heart, You will never understand. So that is complete different. He was a monastic. Why? Monastic means no association with the world. And we know Sri Ramakrishna never could say even I. He was not having that ego even. So he is telling why God made me lead this kind of life. Then he is giving an unique the idea. And he said, Chaitanya Dev became a sannyasi so that all would salute him. Whoever salutes an incarnation, even once, obtain liberation. So this is the unique statement. What is this incarnation? We find that the conception of the incarnation, particularly in Hinduism, it started after the Bhagavata. When Sri Krishna, the Lord Krishna, he, as an incarnation, he played his role to establish the religion. And again in the Bhagavad Gita and many other places, he said that I have come down, though I don't have any business over here. I am not having any desire. But even then, I incarnate. In the 4th chapter, 6th verse of the Bhagavad Gita, it very clearly says, Ajopi sannavayatma bhutanam ishyaropi san prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. Atma Maya, a new conception. Before that, before Sri Krishna, it was not accepted. That's why in the Bhagavata we find, after the 9th Adhyaya chapter, that it says from the 10th, the whole 10th chapter is dedicated to Sri Krishna. There it mentions a few lines about the Sri Rama. He also is the same avatar. But the Rama avatar, his activity was little different. Sri Krishna, and that's why some people they say, Krishnastu Bhagavan Sayam, it is not an incarnation, it is the God himself. But anyway, so this conception of the avatar, what is this avatar? That Supreme Lord. And through his power, the power of which is known as Maya, is as if taking the human form. As if. Not in reality. Ajopi sannavayatma is the eternal soul and is never born. Aja api. The moment it is born as we are, so obviously there is an end. Any creation obviously has an end. Anything that is born is going to die. And Avatara is not like that. Is the God himself. Is that supreme being, through his power, taking a form at different time, in different places. It is up to him. We cannot doubt it because it is all powerful. So, Ajopi sannavayatma, bhutanam ishyaropi san. He has created this universe, the bhuta, the pranis, the souls. That is his creation. He is the master. Prakritim swam adhishtaya. Prakriti means its power. He is utilizing that power and manifesting as an avatar. Then he said that I come, the God come. Now Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna mentioning over here, if an incarnation, that is the avatar, the God incarnated, if someone is paying respect to him out of devotion, out of love, then he is liberated. Why? The blessings of God, the compassion of God, sufficient. Who has created us? The being God. Now, if the God is gracious on me, what will happen? No bondage. What is that bondage? Desire for the worldly life, and which comes through the ego. Just by the grace of God, by a glance, that will be gone, and then you are completely free. So, like that only. So, this is the way things goes. it depends on the faith. Bishash holo to hoye gelo. In Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna Bengali he said, if you have the faith, complete faith, the God is there, God comes in this type of form, and God can liberate me, can remove all my desires and my ego, and I can see, oh, I am God myself. There is no difference. It was only the imagination that I am bound, I was crying. It is only my imagination that I saw that snake on the street and I was wondering how to save myself. Imagination, there is no snake at all. So this is the way, if we can understand, this is the avatara. Sri Ramakrishna is indicating, and we can remember in the Bible, the Lord Jesus is also telling, he who has seen the Son has seen the Father. He who has seen the Son has seen the Father. That means the avatara. They mentioned in the Bible and the Christian tradition, they say the God and the Son, the begotten Son. But we say it's avatara, the God himself is coming down. So this is the difference. The Holy Spirit in between, the concept that God cannot come directly, so he has dedicated his Son and they are communicating through the Holy Spirit. That is a Trinity of the Christian tradition. There is a conception, by that way they try to explain, and Hindus they explain in a different way. Is the God himself is coming down, and that God is manifesting in different form at different times, in different names. So that is that's why the Hindus they accept Jesus as the incarnation of God. There is no problem. We accept Lord Buddha as an incarnation of God. There is no problem, because we see all the divine qualities manifested through these characters. So unity among all these religious paths, it is present in Hinduism because of its very conception is like that. Friends, you know that there will be in the next month, 16, 17, 18 October, there will be, of course, in the online is a parliament of religion, and different religions they are presenting in different forms. I am also going to speak on behalf of the Hinduism to the Zoroastrians, the group of there, and we will also have our own program, the Hinduism, and different scholars they will be speaking. Not only Ramakrishna Mission Swamis, the other spiritual heads are different of the sects of the Hinduism, they will also take part, and some professors are there. They will be speaking Hinduism from different, mainly three angles. So that is there. So when I am going to that main topic that they gave me, what Hinduism thinks about the unification of different religions. This is all same. So that is why the Hinduism accepts all. Maybe the river has in different places, it has been created from the top of that mountain, this place, but all water goes to the ocean. So that is the way we accept. Here the Jesus is also saying, he who has seen the Son has seen the Father. But there is another idea, they say rishitva, rishihood. Those who have understood the truth, realized that truth, that all these things are coming from one, that conception rishi. So that complete knowledge about the idea about the creation and the creator. But they don't accept the avatara. They say rishi is there. That rishi, he knows everything. Naturally, he is having that power too. That we find in one of the Spinoza, that the philosophy, Western philosophy, and he is writing a later, in his later to Oldenburg, he is giving that conception about the Jesus Christ. Jesus is not a human being, don't accept him in that way. but it is the manifestation of the knowledge. He realized that anyone can have that. That's true. The Rishitva is all right, but Avatara is different. We can realize Brahman. We can become Rishi. Any individual can become a Rishi. Rishihood, that is okay, but we cannot become Avatara. Not any individual soul can become Avatara. We can get realization of the Brahman and become Brahman. Those who have realized Brahman has become Brahman. That is the statement. But one cannot become Avatara. Why? There, the Supreme Being, from his own power, through his own power, utilizing his own Maya Shakti, he is manifesting as the Avatara. That we cannot become. It is not possible. So, Avatara, it is different. And this conception of the Avatara that came is from the Krishna. So, in the Bhagavata, it is very, very prominently mentioned. And Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning over here, why I am living in this way. He is indicating that if anyone is respecting, accepting, and getting the blessings of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he will be liberated. Just accepting Sri Ramakrishna. Why? Because he himself is the God. So that he is mentioning. He is mentioning in such a way, if the people, sometimes not directly in the indication, but the people, those who are really intelligent, they will understand it. That's why Swami Vivekananda, after a lot of examination, he was having doubt about the divinity of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Even he was telling, is it truly God? When the Sri Ramakrishna, he was tormenting outwardly, and he was almost in the verge of death. That time also, after experiencing so many things, Sri Ramakrishna touched Narendra, and for 3 days and 3 nights he had the experience of Advaita Vedanta. He saw everything is the same consciousness. He realized that. And not only that, a few days before of his passing away, when Narendra was meditating, he forgot his body. And he saw the all-pervading consciousness. There are so many. Those who have read that, you know that even after that, he wanted to know, and that critical moment, now that he is going to die, at this time, would he be able to say that he is God? At that very moment, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, O Naren, he who was Rama, he who was Krishna, now in this body as Sri Ramakrishna, Avatar. This is the God himself coming down in different form with the power of his Maya Shakti. As no one can create, only God, that Supreme Being. So now if we accept that, and if we are saluting, dedicating, devoted to Sri Ramakrishna, mukti, liberation, is sure. That he is mentioning over there. Whoever salutes an incarnation, even once, that means with the great respect, complete dedication, understanding whom he is saluting. Just, there is a holy man, go and touch his feet, and he will go and touch his feet without knowing who is he. Not like that. Understanding and accepting that, and if he is going and saluting, he says, immediately obtain liberation. Mohini Mohan had brought a basket of sweetmeats for Sri Ramakrishna. Master, who has brought these sweets? Baburam pointed to Mohini Mohan. Sri Ramakrishna touched those sweets, uttering the word Om, and ate a little. Then he distributed them among the devotees. To the surprise of the others, he fed the younger Naren and a few of the boys with his own hand. So, a Master Mahasaya is noticing and then reporting that this is happening. A few are there, very young. To them, Sri Ramakrishna is more compassionate, and he is feeding them with his own hand. You can imagine the blessedness. Just now we discussed that he is the God himself. He is in the human form and he has taken the name Sri Ramakrishna. But he is no other than Sri Rama or Sri Krishna. He is the supreme being in that form. And when he is touching, that it becomes immediately sanctified. And he is distributing those sweets with all those who are assembled over there. And at the same time, the special is feeding those young boys. So afterwards their life turned and they became very holy. Particularly we know the Baburam Maharaj, he was a very, very loving soul. And Baburam is feeding them. Master to aim. This has a meaning. There is a greater manifestation of God in man, a pure heart. When he was feeding those particular boys, and then naturally Master Moshe was inquisitive to know why this. Why not he is feeding to all, or just touching and then sanctifying that particular those sweetmeats and giving to the devotees for distribution. So why is this special? The Sri Ramakrishna giving the answer to his silent question. He is telling this has meaning. There is a greater manifestation of God in man of pure heart. What is the pure heart? They don't have association or the attachment with the worldly objects. That's called pure heart. Those who are having those, not that the someone he is living for a long time alone and practicing this, that, but if he is having the desire for the worldly things, then he is not a pure heart. A pure heart means completely different. Not that he is only eating some particular type of food and he is pure, or drinking only milk or the Ganga water and becoming pure. It's nothing like that. It's the thought. When we are craving for the worldly objects, the name, fame, physical comfort and all this is the impure mind. Anything, when the mind goes towards the God, it becomes pure. It goes opposite to the creation of God, this world, impure. This, again and again, the purity and impurity. So this is the purity. Because there is a meaning of pure heart. In former years, when I used to go to Kamarpukur, I would feed some of the young boys with my own hand. And Chinu Shakhari would say, why doesn't he feed us that way? But how could I? They led an immoral life. Who would feed them? Friends, this is very clear. Those who practice the immoral life is not that only is having the family, not like that. What I understand, immoral life is a different thing where something that you are not supposed to do, you are breaking the moral line, that is called immorality. So that immoral life, when you are living, obviously God is away. Because you are very much attached to those things. You like those things. And obviously, the God is away. The purity means understanding the futility of these worldly things and dedicating the mind towards God. So this is Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. The Chinu Shakari, we know about this person, those who have read the biography. The Chinu Shakari, when he was very young, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, his name was Gadadhar, and he used to call him as Gadai, and that means the one epithet of the Vishnu, the Gadai, and he used to feed him and telling him, Gadai, you are not ordinary human being, you must be God. The Chinu Shakari was also good. Even then, the Sri Ramakrishna is telling it was very hard to feed him directly. Sri Ramakrishna was in the happiest mood with his young and pure soul devotees. He was seated on the small couch and was doing fun imitation of a kirtani. The devotees laughed heartily. The kirtani is dressed lavishly and covered with jewelries. She sings standing on the floor. And look at it, how the Sri Ramakrishna who is talking about the avatar, Sri Ramakrishna who is indicating that he is the avatar, the God incarnated in human form. And that Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is behaving just like an ordinary person having some fun. So this is the spirituality. The spirituality doesn't mean that you every time, every moment, you have to hang your face and the grave way you have to behave. Nothing like that. It is just joy. How the people are behaving, he is imitating that. It's a very funny way. So that just they are having the fun, the joy. Not that he is hurting them, that imitating something and making the. So spirituality means complete joy. Very normal life. Very, very normal life. Everything. Only for all the moment, 24 hours, every moment, awareness is there. This world is very temporary. It is an imagination. Nothing is real. So I am not going to give any thought about these worldly things, not getting attached to anything, and I am not having my ego. I should go on removing my ego, and instead I will have the self-confidence that I am the pure, because I am that. Tat Tvamasi, the great dictum of the Veda, I am that pure. So constantly, but at the same time, when living daily life, sometimes having fun, talking with the friends, visiting the places, enjoying different things, unattached way, that he is having that fun. The devotees were convulsed with the laughter at his mimicry by Sri Ramakrishna, at this mimicry by Sri Ramakrishna. Poltu rolled on the ground. Pointing to him, the master said to him, "Look at that child. He is rolling with laughter." He said to Poltu with a smile, "Don't report this to your father, or he will lose the little respect he has for me." You see, he is an Englishman. Englishman means, in those days, Sri Ramakrishna used to use this word, but that means the educated person. And in the educated person, they were, the Britishers used to rule India at that time, and mainly the influence of that education, that you must be, your etiquette should be like this, a holy man should not behave like this, you should not behave like this. But Sri Ramakrishna was just a happy child of God. So he was making that fun, and the Poltu was rolling. Poltu was the most young, so he enjoyed that. He was rolling on the ground while he was laughing, and Sri Ramakrishna said, "Don't report it to your father, that whatever little respect that he is having for me, as a holy man, that will be lost." So this is called guileless, free, spiritual life. No hiding. no, unnecessarily what we are not, what I am not, that's showing no hypocrisy. Spirituality means very pure life. And what is the purity? Not having any attraction for the worldly things. Living in the world, but not of that. Whatever the responsibility, performing, but without any attachment, and a very free life. So that is the reason most of the people, they will be seeing like a drama. They will be to impress people sometime in the name of religion, some of the things that people will do. That is not correct. And no hypocrisy at all. Pure. So that Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning. See, in this way, we learn so many things about the true spiritual religious life from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Almost in every pages, in every description, we are learning, and it's getting revealed that what is spirituality, what is religion. Master to the devotees. There are people who indulge in all kinds of gossip at the time of their daily devotions. As you know, one is not permitted to talk then. So they make all kinds of sign, keeping their lips closed. In order to say, bring this, bring that, they make sounds like hoo, ha, all such things they do. And then they all are laughing. So we are supposed to be silent when we are doing or working in the temple. And why? We should take the name of God. We should remember the purpose we have come to visit the holy place. And if we forget that, sitting over there, since we are not supposed to talk, you are making some sound to say something and going on gesturing, posturing, that is also no use. You must be sincere. You must know what to do and when to do. And Sri Ramakrishna is telling again, there are some who bargain for fish while telling their beads. Some of the people, they do like that. As they count the rosary, with finger they point to the fish, indicating that one, please. And they reserve all their business for that time. So when taking the name of God, they are doing like that. These are all unnecessary, the hypocrisy. It is not necessary. When you are in the market, they do the purchasing and all the whatever. So obviously, when you are going for purchasing something, pay attention to that. Why unnecessarily you have to? Inside, if you can do, you do. Why showing up? Religion has nothing to do like that. There are women who come to the Ganges for their bath, and instead of thinking of God, gossip about no end of things. You see, they have come to bathe in the holy river, and yet they indulge in all sorts of worldly talks. When you go to bathe in the holy place or visiting some holy places, we should remember that. And what is this? Why we should do that? Because it is the mind only. Whatever we think, that is accumulating in the mind, and that is going to happen. And if I think I am going to bathe in this river where all the great rishis, they have taken bath. All the holy people, they stand over here and take the name of God. For hundreds and hundreds of years, they are doing it. Then obviously your mind will be completely detached from the worldly thoughts. And that moment, you become pure. So if this idea is there, that worldly thoughts should not be at that moment when I am trying to perform the holy things, but at least for time being, I will be free from the worldly thoughts. and the mind will become pure. So step by step, I am going to temple, I should think about God only. I should take the holy name of God. Whatever I have read and heard about God, that I should try to remember, not any other thing. When I am going to cook for God, when I am going to do something in the temple, all the time those are the things that will make your mind completely free. Otherwise, living in that holy place or visiting that holy place, spending some time over there, if your mind goes to the worldly thought, you are living in the world. Why? Mano eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshaya. It is the mind of the human being that is the cause of bondage or liberation. What is the bondage? Birth and death, that circle. How it comes? Because of my attachment to the worldly things. Very simple. So it is just like a mathematics. If we are thinking about the worldly things, we go back to world. How? After death, again we take the birth and again in this world. And because the desires are there, that will go to happen. And this is the reason one must be very, very careful, very, very careful. The thought should be always on the God. And how it is possible? Take the name of God. Because God's name and God are same. Taking the name of God is as purity as talking to God or looking at God. The same. That is again the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, name of God and the God are same. So this is the way we have to understand. So people, they are coming to bathe in the Ganga but go on gossip for something else. They are of course bathing, but because they were taking the dip in the holy river, that blessings of the holiness is not coming. Because their mind was not there. We go to the temple but think about something else or gossip for something else. So we are not getting the benefit of visiting the holy place. So that is the idea. The master began to look intently at the younger Naren and went into samadhi. Did he see God himself in the pure soul devotee? So Master Mashai was wondering, looking at a young boy, Sri Ramakrishna, he looked intently and went into samadhi. So the Master Mahashaya is wondering whether could he see that God present in that holy mind? A devotee silently watched the figure of Sri Ramakrishna, motionless in samadhi. A few minutes before, there had been so much laughter in the room. Now there was deep silence. As if no one were there, the master sat with the folded hands as in his photograph. The Sri Ramakrishna photo was taken afterwards, and we are so lucky that this time only, and the first time, that we can get the real picture of God, how he was, no imagination. Ramachandra's, all those pictures that we see, the photos, all imagination, the artists are painting in that way. Krishna also the same thing. It is Sri Ramakrishna that time the science advanced and we could take the photograph in the camera. So obviously must. And this devotee silently watched the figure of Sri Ramakrishna. Who is this devotee? Master Mahashaya himself. He has mentioned in the Gospel many times about aim or the master, the teacher of a school, and sometimes the devotee in different names. After a short while, his mind began to come down to the relative plane. He heaved a long sigh and became aware of the outer world. He looked at the devotees and began to talk with them of their spiritual progress. See, sometimes when we go to the deep sleep, and after the deep sleep, when we come back slowly, many people, we have the experience, can't remember actually where we are. Have you experienced that? Then when you get up from your deep sleep, you were sleeping in such a way and suddenly you got up and you can't recognize what is this place, what is the time, is the morning or is this the afternoon or where I am. You were on your own bed, you were in the same room, but it doesn't come in the mind. Those who go into samadhi, they forget the external, all those things. Where you are sitting, what the people and environment, everything they forget because their mind goes to the stillness where there is no two, there is only one, there is only consciousness. And from there slowly they are coming back so that we can have little idea of that. The person like Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is buddhita. Buddhita means coming down from that spiritual plane, and here he is. And we can have this a little bit of that experience from deep sleep. Master to the younger Naren, I have been eager to see you. You will succeed. Come here once in a while. Well, which do you prefer, jnana or bhakti? And the young Naren, pure bhakti. He is telling, this young Naren is not Narendranath. Narendranath is different, is a young, different person. The master, but how can you love someone unless you know him? Pointing to M. M means his teacher, with a smile. How can you love him unless you know him? Since a pure soul person has asked for pure bhakti, it must have some meaning. Pure soul we have discussed, and he is asking for the bhakti. It has a meaning. One does not see bhakti of one's own accord. One does not seek bhakti of one's own accord without inborn tendencies. This is the characteristic of prema bhakti. There is another kind of bhakti called jnana bhakti, which is love of God based on reasoning. So he is explaining the jnana bhakti. Usually Sri Ramakrishna used to say the Vaidhi bhakti, the ritualistic way you have to, that is the bhakti. And when you are practicing that these are the things you should do and regularly practicing slowly generates to the prema bhakti and then urjita bhakti. That means he get completely associated with the God. And now he is telling about the jnana bhakti. This jnana bhakti, the knowledge about the God. And this is God is like this, etc. Then the bhakti means one-pointedness. To the younger Naren, let me look at your body. Take off your shirt. Fairly broad chest. You will succeed. Come here now and then. This is called Samudra Vidya. This is a kind of a very spatial knowledge. By seeing different the body feature, the Sri Ramakrishna could say his future and his past also. That was a very special of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. He could, sometimes you will be weighing the hand, from the finger up to the elbow, he will be weighing, and then he will say, oh, his mind is this, he is like this type, that type. That is a very special knowledge that he had, and it is known as Samudra Vidya. He was asking, and after seeing his body, he said, he may realize God. And Sri Ramakrishna was still in the ecstatic mood. He spoke tenderly to the other devotees about their future. When he was talking about the younger Naren, the others were also eager to know what is going to happen to us. But he looked to them and said tenderly, to the Poltu, that young boy, you will succeed too, but it will take a little time. To Baburam, why don't I attract you to me? It is just to avoid trouble. Baburam was very pure, But the Sri Ramakrishna told that I am not attracting as because to trouble. Why trouble? Mother. Baburam's mother was very, very devoted. And she naturally, the mother losing the son is going away. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna, afterwards, you know what happened? He asked his mother, mother came to give some gift to Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna told, if you like to give me a gift, give to your son. Let him become a monk, let him be with me. I will train him how to become a monk. The mother, she gave her son. They were very rich people. Still that the area is there. They have given to the Ramakrishna mission. Ramakrishna ashram has come up over there. The Baburam Maharaj family were very rich and they were landlord. The mother, Baburam Maharaj's mother, when the Sri Ramakrishna told, it's okay. And she gave the son to Sri Ramakrishna. Why don't I attract you to me? It is just to avoid trouble. To Mohini Mohan, as for you, you are all right. There is a little yet to be done. When that is achieved, nothing will remain, neither duty nor work, not the world itself. Is it good to get rid of everything? About the Mahimacharan, because everybody was eager, we can feel. Had we been there, so naturally what he is mentioning about me, so what is going to happen to me? And Sri Ramakrishna spoke these words. He looked at Mohini affectionately as if scanning his inmost feeling. Was Mohini really wondering whether it would be wise to renounce all for God? After a while, Sri Ramakrishna said, God binds the Bhagavata Pandit to the world with one tie, otherwise who would remain to explain the sacred book? He keeps the Pandit bound for the good of men. That is why the Divine Mother has kept you in the world. So sometimes there are some good people, they will be naturally, it is also necessary. God has created this universe, and through the holy people, dedicated people, He goes on giving the teaching to these worldly people that what is the right path. So that's why he was mentioning about Mohini. Now Sri Ramakrishna spoke to the young Brahmin. The one young Brahmin boy, he was there, and he said, give up knowledge and reasoning, accept bhakti. Bhakti alone is the essence. Is this the third day of your stay here? That young boy, he was staying there, so Sri Ramakrishna is giving the direct instruction. It's very rare time. He was usually used to say whatever, these are the things, whatever you like. But here, for his benefit, he is telling, don't go for reasoning and don't try to follow the path of knowledge. Rather take the bhakti. And he said, have faith, depend on God, then you will not have to do anything yourself. Mother Kali will do everything for you. Mother Kali will do everything for you. This is a great statement. Because if we can depend on God, God will do everything. For only thing that we need is the faith in the existence of God. God is there. Thank you, friends. We will start our reading and discussion next time from this topic, that the Kali, Goddess Kali, Mother Kali, will do everything for you if you have faith. Now, if there is any question.
So the first question is from Birendra Mojumdar. He is asking, by the blessings of Sri Gurudev, Thakur's Bani is very pleasant to us. What will happen to us who are graced up? Shall the human beings like me in their 60s, all my prayers will go in vain?
How can that be? So you know that If you have the faith in the pure words of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, and if you are taking his name, praying to him, not a single word will go in vain. So I have kept over here in my table Ma Sharadamani Devi's photo and his quote. In Bengali she is telling, Sheki go, ঠাকুরের নাম কি চারটিখানি কথা যে অমনি যাবে? You understand that? The Sri Ramakrishna's name that we are taking, it has great value. The name itself will purify our mind, will all the bondages, all the desires, all the ego, automatically it will go. So only regularly pray to God and say, I am at your mercy, O God. Please hold my hand and take me to you. Thank you.
Swarup is asking the next question. How can we identify avatars who might be around us?
Oh, that is very, very difficult, Avatar is a completely different type, and it is not that the power of God is manifesting a little bit here and there. Avatar is different. The God himself is coming in that human form and manifesting. At that time, the people, those who are really very pure-hearted, and when it is necessary for them to know, the God himself will attract them and they will know about the avatar. But at this moment, it is better that the avatara who have come and given us their teachings, it is better to understand those teachings, imbibe those teachings, and lead our life according to that teaching. That will be sufficient.
Srima Biswas is asking the next question. How to keep ourselves worldly object being grihi? How to keep ourselves
free.
How to keep ourselves free from worldly object being grihi?
So, that worldly objects means that we need some shelter. Suppose you are purchasing a house, nothing wrong. You like to live over there. But when we talk about, as Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is talking about the worldly objects, that some people are there who are greedy type. They constantly, and they inside, they always think that there is no God, forget about God, and if they are taking the name of God for their selfish motive, to fulfill their selfish purposes. So they are grihis. Those who are living in the household are not that way grihi. They are just doing their swadharma. There is nothing wrong in it. That's why Bhagavan Krishna again and again says, Sri Ramakrishna also mentioning. So, but only thing inside, don't have attachment for those things. If you don't have the attachment, then you are not bound. Whether you are living in the palace or living under a tree, it is all the same if you don't have the attachment. Thank you.
Devjan is asking the next question. What is the difference between Samudra Vidya and Tantra Vidya?
Samudra Vidya means, as I was mentioning, the very spatial, looking at the physical and a different type of things in the body. So, some people could say, but Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, this was his very spatial. Not that all the time he used to say, but sometimes. When he went to meet the father of Rabindranath Tagore, he also asked him to open his chest to see whether the Kundalini has come up to that, etc. It's very difficult to explain. And the Tantra, it is capturing the power over the nature. That is the Tantra Shakti, and it is having, the Tantric, so many powers are there. So, up to this, but we should not be interested for these powers. These are also temporary. That is why Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna again and again mentioned that don't bother about this power. Go to God, who is love and unselfishness, and then enjoy complete freedom. So thank you then. Let us chant this mantra and finish our today's discourse. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.